Black Friday is finally here, so if you've been wanting to get our courses but couldn't afford it, just use the code BF2024 at checkout and I'll give you that sweet discount. I'm also super excited to announce you can now buy all 4 of our courses for one reduced price in the Stylized Mega Bundle. And yes, you can double dip on the discount and use the Black Friday code on that one as well for some super savings. Thank you guys so much for all your support so far. Let's get into the video.
Hello everyone, I'm Matteo Grete. For this video I'm gonna be doing a breakdown of my last project. This is the Tavern based on the concept art of Jail. I'm gonna be explaining how I do tiling textures, vertex painting in Unreal, and other fun things. I always use my pen and hands to do assets rather than using procedural programs, so if you're like me, maybe my way of working inspires you to do creative things as well. This may look a little bit intimidating at first. It is a big building, but it's also composed of modular parts, and that's why I chose this concept art. If we pay attention, for example, at the balconies, we can clearly see that they are very similar to each other. The more we look at this image, the more we realize that things here are modular. So this here is the tiling texture that I use for my wood material. I followed a tutorial that explains how to do tiling texture. I'm gonna link it in the description or even put it on the screen because I think he explains better how to do the setup. But basically we're using wrap mode, which can be found under brush and curve, to copy the things that we do in this sort of fashion. When I get close to what I'm doing, focusing on this plane first, then if I draw from here, it's gonna appear here. So essentially it's gonna tile. To create these lines, these vertical lines, I just basically grab this brush from the Orb brush pack, which you can get for free in Gumroad, or you can also do a donation to the author, which I recommend. And I just pressing shift, I just drew these sort of things all over the place to get the blanks. And then these tinier cracks, I use other brushes here, like for example this one. Then I add a little bit of variations with the move tool, with some masks. But the key thing here is to always go very simple. We just need a high poly, and then a lot of the magic is gonna come in Substance Painter. Before moving into Substance Painter, we need a low poly for this. In this case, this will do. Just a plane in the middle that you can create on ZBrush. Another thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create the same plane but multiplied 8 times to the side. This is as simple as just grabbing this plane and to the side like this a bunch of times. I am not gonna do it right now, but the result is just this. And then we're gonna export this as a separate thing, then this. Here in Substance Painter we're gonna see basically this. The high poly in the background and then the low poly that we're gonna be. This is very good and we can texture perfectly like this. But if we want to do some hand painting, it's not gonna tile. And sadly Substance Painter doesn't have a way of making it tile normally. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Edit, Project Configuration, and then we're gonna select the low version that has 9 of the same plane. When you load that, this is not gonna appear here. You're gonna see something more like this. And you're gonna be like, oh no, I lost all of my bake configuration. But your bakes are in Substance Painter. It's just that you have to go to Texture Settings and then plug them in. All of these ones. I don't have an ID map, ambient occlusion, curvature, position, and thickness. And now this looks like this. If I actually paint now, it repeats because this square has the same UV than this one. All of them have the same UVs. Now I'm gonna explain how I texture this thing. First of all, I throw a base color, then I do a soft AO, which is a little bit white, and then a hard AO that is like not completely, but it's like a little bit more dark. The soft one is just basically gonna make it less dark on some areas. It's hard to see, but it adds in the distance. Then I'm gonna do a curvature gradient, which looks like this. So I'm gonna target that soft curve that the high poly had, and this is gonna give it a little bit more of roundness. This layer here is just a control for the dark wood that is also present on the project. I just exported some textures like this and then some textures like this to have the two different types of wood. Then I add a curvature gradient that adds that tiny bit of highlight here in the middle, and then another one, but this time for the edges, and that's it. This is more than enough for the scene to come alive. I'm gonna be explaining as well how I did the bricks, because it's a different process than the one that I showed before with the woods. So first of all, I am gonna be doing the exact same things that I learned in a tutorial that I hope gets also linked in the description or appears in the video. So first thing that I do is array mesh in x-axis and then do the same in y-axis. When you do this in ZBrush, now the plane is basically getting copied, and this is very good. It works very similar how modifiers work in Blender, so I'm very happy that ZBrush has a thing like this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this tool called EMM primitives, and I'm just gonna insert a cube here, and it's gonna get copied. I'm gonna make it like a brick. Then we're gonna separate split mask point. After that, we're just gonna sculpt it a little bit to create a little bit of detail. For that, I'm gonna use this brush over here, which also comes in the old brush pack. It's called clay tubes, and basically the way I do it is I just grab this brush and go through the edges like this. I'm gonna do it very fast right now because two things. First of all, I'm just showing it quickly, but also because it's a very simple thing, and we are not gonna go into tinier details now. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna avoid this type of big details. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy it. Auto groups, and we just copy it again a bunch of times. Very, very simple. So not the best example, but when I finally have this, then I will go ahead and sculpt different details in each of them, and I will of course use masking to not mess the other ones around. Again, we don't want to go super detailed in any of these things because it's a tiling texture and it needs to be sort of the goal is that it doesn't scream to the eye that is a tiling texture. So if I, for example, if I make a big detail like this one right here, then when I see it from afar, I'm gonna see that it repeats constantly. We don't want this type of details. So we can just remove it using clay tubes and then this other brush. Anyways, the final result in my case looks like this. I painted the bricks with different colors, so when I'm in Substance Painter I can use this information to paint it. Now we are in Substance Painter. This is the result of the bake. As you can see, there's not that much detail. We're gonna give most of the detail with color. And the way I did it is first using the ID map, this one right here, that I showed before, that we baked, to do the base color of the block. This is the base color that I used. Then after that, I added AO and highlights using curvature for the edges and the ambient occlusion map and levels for the ambient occlusion. I also added color variation, just painting over, and using this plugin called Make It Tile that it just makes it tile. Makes things tile in a sort of a little bit chaotic way, but if you're doing details like this, it works very, very well. After that, I put a HSL filter on top of everything so I can modify the hue like this. So now I can have different types of color walls. But I ended up like getting this color, which personally I think it looks very stylized and very pretty. We also want to export the height map from here, which we're gonna use to do the vertex painting. Now this is the texture for the plaster, the one that we're gonna combine between the bricks. And the way I did it is using the same workflow that I used with the wood one. And basically what I do is check that wrap mode is activated. Yes, perfect. What I will do is I will grab the ore brush again, and then I will create some kind of things, some mountains and valleys. Oh, I need to activate the wrap mode for every single brush that you use. I will do something like this, ups and downs, and then I will grab this other brush and start polishing and getting that sort of rocky hard edges. It's honestly very fast to make, and you don't really have to use your head too much. Is intuitive thinking. And oh, I forgot to activate the wrap mode for this one, so this one is not tiling. If it happens to you that your texture is not tiling, maybe it's because you forgot to activate the wrap mode at some moment. It's very common. But anyways, I did this in nothing, a couple of seconds. And the amount of textures that you can do this with is very, very good. Again, this is not tiling because I forgot to activate it, but this is how the one that I finished using looks. And this is the only information that we really need. Rest is gonna be on the textures, as I'm gonna show in just a second. Now in Substance Painter, the bake looks like this. Enough information for the height map to work properly. And the layers are very simple. We just do a base color with the roughness values set accordingly. In this case, I'm gonna use 6.8. And then I did color and roughness variation painting over. It's hard to see, but I just did this type of brush strokes again and again. And it not only changes the color, it also changes the roughness. At the end, it does vary enough to make it look good. But it's also gonna make it variate in roughness, which it's gonna be important when we do the lighting setup in Unreal. This is how the material setup looks in Unreal. I grab the plaster textures, including the height map, and then I grab the brick textures, and then I merge them using this. And in the alpha, I use the height texture of the brick to transition to make the transition for the vertex painting. Now in order to make this cool texture, all I have to do is give enough vertices to this model and then go into modeling mode, vertex paint, and we need to select this thing that I don't think they come by default, which is put in only the red channel, so we paint only in the red channel. And then I think originally this comes like this. We need to switch it to original material so we see what we're doing. And that's that. We can paint the things, and it's gonna use the vertices to paint. Of course, this is vertex paint, but it's gonna use the height map to to blend both textures. We can also go ahead and put less of a dark color, and then we get some details like this. Very useful when, for example, if I wanted to make this merge better, then I will go with the grayish color, and then I will go with another more even grayish color after that one. To summarize, we covered how to do different types of tiling textures in a handcraft way, using ZBrush and Substance Painter. Then, we show how to use vertex painting in Unreal to merge them together and create variation. I really hope you liked this tutorial. I would like to give special thanks to Stylized Station for this opportunity. If this helped you in any way, please let me know. You can contact me in my ArtStation or send me an email. I will be super happy to receive any message. Thank you.